state of separation from Yahweh. It is a state of weeping because you are separated from the presence of Yahweh. It is a place where no dentist can help you because your teeth are being gnashed because of pain and because of darkness and because of the lack of the light of the creator of light. So hell is not a place. Hell is a state of being, but there is a place that religion calls hell that you also don't want to go. So I'm kind of saying it's not a place, but it really is a place. You with me?
Oh, yeah.
And this is not a negative message. This is a message of great hope because all of us are covered. We didn't try to sneak into Yeshua's wedding and be his brides in the kingdom. Don't you love these mandated monogamists only? Well, I don't, for me, my wife, and my wife don't give me the sex if I start thinking about this stuff. Let me tell you something, darling. If your theology at the marriage supper of the Lamb says that only you are going to be at the marriage supper of the Lamb, you got a condition. You know what it's called? Pride and arrogance. If you think you're going to be the only one at the marriage supper of the Lamb, and there's not going to be hundreds of millions of other brothers and sisters who are also his holy wives and his virgin brides there, you got a problem with pride and arrogance. And those who believe in mandated monogamy, that's exactly what they teach. That only they're going to be at the marriage supper of the Lamb. That somehow all of Yahweh's other wives, you, me, her, him, all his other virgin wives, washed in the blood of the Lamb, we're not going to be there. Only they're going to be there.
Geez, Jacob's going to be there.
Exactly. If there's one other person there other than you, that's a plural marriage. Hello. If there's one other born-again believer at the marriage supper of the Lamb, there's more than you. Baruch Hashem. Speaking of teeth, right? Okay, so don't misunderstand me. Follow me. When the ground opened, Korach went to a place. But before he went to a place, he was separated from Yahweh's presence. And there was darkness. He went down to darkness. He went down to weeping. He went down to despair. He went down to agony. He went down to torture. So before we find out where those who are not covered with the wedding garment of Yeshua's righteousness and Yeshua's salvation, Jeremiah 23:5 and 6, before we find out where they go, we ought to find out what state they're in, because you won't go to any place where there's darkness and weeping and gnashing of teeth if you get out of the state that sends those who are there to go there. Are you with me, Rivka? In order to go to this place of separation, you've got to be spiritually separated in the first place. Yeshua has come to end your spiritual separation from Yahweh and to give you, not to worry about what type of a hell there is, but to put your hope on things above. If you be risen with Mashiach, seek those things which are above, where Mashiach is seated at the right hand of Yahweh. Mortify the deeds of your flesh on the earth and seek those things above. If you be risen with Mashiach, seek those things that are above. Colossians 3, 1 through 5. Amen. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. Toda Rabah. Yahweh. Abba. Yahweh. Matthew 25:30. We're so worried about people going to hell when we got to get our theology right to get them out of a state called hell so that they don't go to a place that religion calls hell, which is worse than hell. Exactly. Religion says, well, if you don't accept Yeshua, you're going to go to hell. I got worse news for you. If you don't accept Yeshua, you're going to go to a place 1,000,000 times worse than hell. Hell means you're separated from Yahweh's presence. And those who are separated from Yahweh's presence do not go to hell. They go to a place 1,000,000 times worse than hell. Which makes it more incumbent upon us to invite people to get saved, to invite people to our meetings, and to invite them to get discipled in the things of Yahweh. Amen. So when I say invitation, what I mean is I don't want somebody who stabbed me and stabbed you in the back 20 years ago being recycled, knocking on the door one day and saying, hi, I'm back. No, you're not. That's what I mean by lack of invitation. You understand? By invitation only. That doesn't mean we don't have a hunger for the lost and we don't minister to those who are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's not what that means. Matthew 25:30. When the Ben Adam will come in his Tiferet and all the Kadosh, heavenly Melachim with him, then he will sit upon the Kisei of his Tiferet. Notice? And before him will be gathered all nations. And then I want to jump down. I want to jump down here for the sake of time. Verse 46, he separates the goat nations from the sheep nations. For those who minister to his brothers, those who minister to his children, those the goat nations, verse 46, what does he say? Look at verse 41. Let's start with verse 41. Those who did not minister to his children, who ignored the needs of his children, who ignored Yeshua's calling, his purpose in their life, he will say to those on the left hand, depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire. Circle that word, everlasting fire, prepared for S period, A period, Can, and his Shadim. And then verse 46, those who are not going to minister to him and his brothers, verse 46, will go away to everlasting punishment, but the tzaddikim into chayim eternal, everlasting punishment. Now I'm going to explain that. Let me explain that now so you don't get the wrong impression. Okay, so on one hand we have weeping, on the other hand we have gnashing of teeth, on the other hand we have everlasting fire. Are all these true? Yes.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
The lake of fire is eternal. The lake of fire has an everlasting fire. The lake of fire is a place of darkness. Why? There's no return to Yahweh. Those who wind up in the lake of fire have no return to Yahweh. They are eternally separate from Yahweh's light. But here it says, verse 46, everlasting punishment. So that must mean that those who are the goats, who are rejected, the individuals and the nations, in this national judgment, who are sent to the lake of fire, burn forever in the lake of fire. Right? Wrong.
Exactly.
Let's look at that again, verse 46. Matthew 25, verse 46. It appears that those who reject Yeshua, or those who do not walk as Yeshua walked in this world, but walk according to their own thoughts and their own religion, even though they claim the name of Yahweh and Yeshua, and they become goats by virtue of their deeds, even though they may know the facts of the gospel, they may give mental assent to the facts of the gospel, but they do not walk the way Yeshua walked in this world, loving, forgiving, caring, and not attacking, destroying, and trying to decimate his brethren. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
These will go away to everlasting punishment. Stop. That must mean that Rabbi is wrong. Because Yeshua said right here, those who reject him and who don't minister to him and don't minister to his children will go to everlasting punishment. Right? Wrong. It means, in consequence with all the other scriptures, it means that their decision, the punishment, is the same. What is the same? What is the punishment? Eternal separation from what? The punishment is forever. The consequences of their behavior, their lack of faith in Yeshua, or their profession of faith in Yeshua, but not being possessors of the faith of Yeshua. They professed it, but they didn't possess it. They didn't live it. You follow me?
Yeah.
They will go away to everlasting punishment. Now, religion says, there it is. There it is. They're going to burn it forever. They're going to suffer and burn forever. No. The consequences of their behavior is irreversible. The consequences of their behavior is forever. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
So why is it eternal punishment? Why will these go away to eternal punishment? Because once Yahweh has declared that you are separated from him because you either rejected Yeshua or you refuse to walk in the world in love and forgiveness and mercy and live the gospel, not just talk the gospel,
Amen. Amen.
that consequence, that punishment is for how long? For 1 year? For 2 years? For 3 years? No. That punishment is what? Forever. That doesn't mean they burn in a place called hell forever. It means that. What about those in Sodom and Gomorrah? Do the fires of Sodom and Gomorrah still burn? Yes. Yes. That was thousands of years ago. Now, how can the fires of Sodom and Gomorrah still burn? Because the consequences of those Sodomites, they are still to this day separated from Yahweh. And so the consequences of the flames of Sodom are never quenched.
Amen. Never. Amen.
And those are the consequences of rejecting the love of Yeshua. Okay, Matthew 23:3. Is anyone enjoying?
Amen.
Matthew, and we'll nail this down a little bit better as we go. Matthew 33:3. Oh, right, sorry, 23:33. Matthew 23 and 33. You serpents, you generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of Gei-Hinnom? There it is. Gei-Hinnom. That garbage dump.
What scripture?
Matthew 23:33. Matthew 23:33. You generation of vipers, you hypocrites, you serpents.
23:33.
33, it's right.
How can you escape the damnation of Gei-Hinnom? Who was he talking to?
The leader.
Who was he? Not only the leaders, every Pharisee had to memorize the Torah by the age of 12.
That's right.
Memorize. Genesis to Deuteronomy. So does it matter if you know the Torah? No. If someone doesn't know the Torah and someone does know the Torah, it doesn't matter. Yeshua said, if you love me, you will not only keep my commandments, you will love my brother. You will feed my sheep. You will not tear down. You will not criticize. You will not condemn. You will not walk in judgment. You will not murder in your heart. You will love your neighbor as yourself. But you religious folks, the ones with the titles, the ones who know the Torah, none of you serpents can escape Gei-Hinnom. So Gei-Hinnom is the garbage dump outside Yerushalayim. We have not encountered a single reference to hell. Bruno, we have not encountered a single reference to hell. What have we encountered? A place of weeping and gnashing of teeth, a place of outer darkness, a place of separation from Yahweh, a place where the ground opens up and brings Korach and the leaders of Israel, the 250 rebels, down to sheol and to Gehenna. Gehenna is the Greek equivalent for the Hebrew word, the pit, the grave, or sheol. And we have yet to find a single reference to a place called hell. So what is hell? It is the road that the sinner is on. It is the road that the unrepentant is on that'll wind him up in a place where there's darkness, there's fire, there is travailing, there's mourning, there is thirst, there is weeping, there is gnashing, and the only fire escape is the Son of Righteousness, Yeshua HaMashiach, because in his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely back in the things of Torah. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
So we see this clearly. Now go with me to Matthew 11:23. And a lot of scripture that I want to cover, and I'm glad that I'm doing this with you today. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
Is anyone enjoying?
Amen.
Again, this message, Gei-Hinnom in the Torah. If we can find Gei-Hinnom in the Torah, then Yeshua has the freedom to teach what he gave to Israel on Mount Sinai. If he didn't give it to Israel on Mount Sinai, then it doesn't exist. And then the Jewish people are right. The Christians have invented something called hell to try to make you fear and to try to force you to accept Yeshua. Matthew 11:23. And you, Kafar Nahum. What is Kafar Nahum, Darryl? If you're going to be a rabbi, you need to know this. What is Kafar Nahum? Capernaum, wrong. It is the town of Nahum, the prophet. That's where Nahum grew up, the prophet. The town of Nahum, which in English is called Capernaum. Kafar Nahum. And you, Kafar Nahum, which is exalted to the Shamayim, will be brought to the Gei-Hinnom. There it is, to the garbage dump. There's no hell there. Capernaum, who was exalted because it headquartered Yeshua's earthly ministry, despite all those blessings and despite Yahweh's favor, will be cast down, not to hell, but to the Gei-Hinnom, the garbage dump of fire. For if the mighty